Everything is big in Texas, and for us that can mean only one thing: Texas Motor Speedway. This premier dirt racetrack, located on the same hallowed ground as the Winston Cup facility, showcases these sprint cars the way they were meant to be. But who among the Outlaws has what it takes to mess with Texas and not get caught by the competition? With only 6 races left on the season, Steve Kinzer in the Quaker State number 11 car has a marginal lead over Danny Lasowski in the number 20 J.D. Byrider entry. But can Lasowski make the charge he needs to knock the king from off that 100-point hill? The real points battle rages for 3rd place, where Darren Pittman in the 21 car is a scant 22 points behind Joey Saldano in car 17. So now, on a surface that will be as tough as our competitors, we ramp up for the cheaper-than-dirt shootout. Each outlaw will have to claw their way toward finding the traction they need. There's a new address for the World of Outlaws competition. The Outdoor Channel brings you sprint car excitement next.
It's the greatest four-wheeled excitement on dirt. It's the O'Reilly World of Outlaws from the Texas Motor Speedway Dirt Track in Fort Worth, Texas. Welcome to the Cheaper Than Dirt Shootout. Hello, everyone. I'm Art Ekman, and with only 5 races left in the series, whoever wins tonight's A-feature main event, it'll go a long way in determining who has the edge going down the stretch for the championship chase.
It looks like it's going to go right down to the end. It's been that way all year. So we got a little bit of a lead, but not enough to. You can lose it. I could lose that in 2 nights.
It's simple because we need to win races, and the king needs to have just a little bit of bad luck. Not we wish it on him, but just a little bit of bad luck.
Will it be the king, the dude, Double Down, or maybe even Wild Child winning tonight? Well, one thing for sure, anything can happen at the O'Reilly World of Outlaws. Let's go to Brad Doty.
Art, at this racetrack, the speeds are well over 130 miles per hour on the straightaways. The key is to maintain that speed through the corners. It's going to be up to the crew chiefs to keep the right amount of stagger on the car so it rolls freely through those corners. It's going to be up to the drivers to find the fast line. That might be on the top, that might be on the bottom. I think these guys will be moving all over the racetrack to find that fast line.
When we return, it's the 30-lap preliminary feature race from the Cheaper Than Dirt Shootout. This is the O'Reilly World of Outlaws. Back in Fort Worth, Texas, it's the O'Reilly World of Outlaws. And looking back at last night's preliminary features, 30 laps of action. It really is the climax to a huge day of qualifying, Brad.
Well, and here are the drivers, 4 abreast. That's a salute to the fans. 800 horsepower under the hood of these beasts. This is about as slow as the World of Outlaws sprint car goes right here.
This event is a key to the championship's point race. Joey Saldano is currently 3rd in points, trying to hold off Darren Pittman.
We run 100 races a year. When you come down to the last 5 races of the year and you're that close in points, it's going to be called a battle. I guess Steve and Lasowski kind of separated each other, so there's not much of a battle there. So just trying to hang in there with 3rd.
Our motor program has really gotten turned around over the last few months, and it's been good all year, but every week it seems like it gets better, and Gertie Engine is really working hard on our Mopars. So last 2-3 weeks it's really shown.
2nd in points is Danny Lasowski. He won A-features here in the year 2000 and 2002.
It's a second-to-none facility. You know, it's a great racetrack. We love coming down here to Texas, all the great fans. And, you know, our job is simple. We need to go out there and do the best job we can to try to win this race.
On the pole for last night's feature was number 83, Tim Schaefer. In the front row with him was Sammy Swindell, the former champion. Row 2, Steve Kinzer, the defending series champion and points leader. Right next to him, number 20, Danny Lasowski, who's only 100 points in back of Steve Kinzer. And as we look at the rest of the field, Brad, Joey Saldana is way back in that field.
Yeah, he's starting 12 spots behind Darren Pittman, and Joey Saldana 3rd in points. Pittman's right behind him in 4th. He's trying to hang on to that 3rd spot.
Here's how it looked when the green flag came out. Tim Schaefer from that pole position goes a little bit high, Brad, and taking advantage of it, Sammy Swindell.
Sammy goes around the bottom, got a hold of moisture out of 2 and took the lead.
And then Schaefer spins out before the first lap is complete. So Schaefer now on the restart has to go to the back of the pack, Brad.
Yeah, anytime you stop on the racetrack, you go to the tail.
But it's a great break for Steve Kinzer, who moves into the pole position.
Moves him from third right up on the front row beside Sammy Swindell.
They didn't complete the first lap, so we started all over again. And from that pole position, the Outlaw King takes over things. Number 11 in the Quaker State car. 17 times the champion, 24 wins this season. He won both preliminary and A features here in March. Doesn't like to do the math. In other words, what do I have to win the championship this early with 5 races remaining? A bunch of cars trying a 3-way battle, really, for second place. Number 15, Schatz, holding down third. Lasowski right behind him.
And Schatz right there on the bottom, you saw bob a little bit, and Daniel Lasowski's car looks real tight off the turn 2.
Uh-oh, another caution flag. Number 28, Brian Paulus, Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. It looked like the way he's sitting there that he spun out in turn 4. So, Brad, our second restart. Schatz in third, Lasowski in fourth. And we're under green once again. Ooh, a good battle out of that turn.
Schatz got a charge on Sammy there and just turned the car a little bit too sideways and lost some ground there. He hit a rut, took a big push, lost some more ground.
Number 66, Brooke Tapnell. He's the first Aussie to win on the O'Reilly World of Outlaws series.
Yeah, he got a run on Schatz out of turn 2 and made the pass, but Schatz battles right back on the inside. Schatz liking that low stuff, but you can see there, doing a little bit of a wheelie, got a good bite out of turn 2, but Tapnell's not giving up on the outside.
Oh, this is a great battle. And cars behind, Lasowski's one of them, looking for opportunity.
Well, you can see Schatz, he's got his hands full running through that rough stuff. That car's wheeling and bucking all over the place. Really giving him a workout in there, I can tell you.
Last night, the track conditions made it difficult because we see a variance of conditions on the track itself.
Anytime you see the slick, shiny stuff, that's where they get a lot of wheel spin. But the dark brown dirt, you see Lasowski moving in there right there through that brown stuff, trying to get a good bite, and he does.
Johnson Lasowski, look at Lasowski, number 20. Moving into third place. Valuable points on the line. The preliminary feature here has half the points that our feature tonight will have. But he's in good position should something happen to number 11. And that number 11 is the king of the Outlaws.
When right now, Steve out there just running his own line, standing down below the holes, getting a good bite off of turn 4.
Great battle for second place. Can Swindell hold on the inside? He cut him off for the time being anyway as Lasowski goes on the high groove around 1 and 2.
Now he goes back to the bottom. He had no choice on the other end. Sammy took his line on the bottom, so Danny turned the car, went to the top. He's searching all around, trying to find a spot where that race car likes it. Right there, a little bit of brown stuff, moisture coming out of turn 2. They're trying to get the rear tires into that to get a good bite. Right there's some more of that brown stuff. But boy, the shiny part, that's where you got to try to keep the rear tires off of that.
Lap traffic, it looks like, is hindering Steve Kinzer's effort.
Anytime you're leading the race, you've got the disadvantage. The guys behind you, they'll just go where you don't. Again, no rear view mirrors in these cars, no radio contact. Steve doesn't know how far ahead he is, so he has to be careful through these lap traffic, and you can see it there. He had to lift a little bit. Actually lost some ground with the lap cars. Swindell moving in the background there, you see him closing in on him.
Number 22 is coming up on him, a former crew member.
Yeah, Steve, a former crew member of Steve Kinzer, Jason Johnson, right in front of him there. But again, you know, he doesn't know Steve's back there, so he's not blocking him in any way or hindering Steve. Steve's going to have to get up there to show him the nose of his race car.
Here comes Sammy Swindell. Looks to the inside.
Lasowski actually got underneath of both of them, Art.
Lap traffic really slowing Kinzer up now. Look at this, 3 wide in the battle for the lead coming out of turn 2. Lasowski went down low. The Outlaw King was up high, but Johnson was right in front of him. Look at number 83, Tim Schaefer. He spun out on the first lap and is coming back through the pack. The Steel City Outlaw. He's done well here at Texas Motor Speedway Dirt Track before. Last year in September, he won the preliminary feature, was second in the A feature.
You can bet he's motivated and probably fired up having to go to the tail.
Meanwhile, while 83 fights up through the pack, we've got a good race for the lead going on as finally Kinzer gets by Johnson. Johnson to the outside up high. Kinzer down low. Look at the battle behind him. Swindell takes the inside route. Lasowski lost some time there in the corner up high.
He sure did. It just looked like he had to turn right. I don't know if something wrong with that race car. He made a sharp right-hand turn and is losing ground in a hurry.
There's Swindell. Boy, what pressure factor it must be on those front tires.
Oh, there is Lasowski.
He's slowing down.
Yeah, in that shot before, it looked like he had trouble. Something happened. The car just turned right, and he was losing ground to all these guys.
Kinzer holds the lead. Swindell in second. Schatz in third. We'll be back with more action in a moment. Welcome back to the O'Reilly World of Outlaws as we take a look at the preliminary feature of last night, setting the scene for tonight's big finale. And it's Kinzer in first place, Swindell in second place, Schatz in third, and Pittman, the blue car, in fourth, has come all the way from seventh place. We're under green once again. Swindell, number one, in second place, trying to chase down the leader. And it looks like some close action there. Whoa! Hang on. Schatz going down below, Pittman up above.
Yeah, Sammy Swindell hit that hole down there and bobbed a little bit, but look at that. Pittman around the outside up there on the smooth part of the racetrack drives by both of those guys.
Pittman doing a wonderful job as the number one qualifier yesterday in time trials. 13.4 seconds to go a lap around this track. He holds the track record at 12.276. That's about 117 miles an hour. Number 21 we're talking about.
There he is again, up on the racetrack where it's a little bit smoother. Some of these guys are bouncing around through the holes. And look at this, he's starting to close in on Steve Kinzer.
Pittman battling for the lead. Now, how do you explain the differentiation in time? He holds the track record at 12.2, and yet he had a 13.4 that beat everybody earlier yesterday.
Well, when he set that track record as a spring race, the air was a lot cooler. These engines love cool air. They get a lot of horsepower, and that's when he set the track record.
Oh, right now, look at him going to the outside, Brad.
Again, Steve Kinzer didn't know he was there, I'm sure. Look at that, just woke Steve up. Steve put a slide job on him, just took the line away.
Back and forth we go, and now we have another caution flag. And Brad, more bad luck for Lasowski. Troubles earlier, got back into the action, and now Working Woody is out there again.
Boy, this late in the season, battling for the point championship, that's not what you want, especially when his arch rival Steve Kinzer is leading the race.
So with another caution, good time to turn to our O'Reilly World of Outlaws Tech Talk. Darren Pittman not only had the fastest time in qualifying for tonight's race, but he also holds the one-lap record at over 117 miles an hour, which means he has to be going, Joe Gertie, about 130, 135 down the backstretch. He's the crew chief. He puts this machine together with the crew. Let me know about it.
Well, it's a lot to do with his driving style. It fits his place here is a lot better for him, and it didn't work for me if I was to race here. I definitely wouldn't use same setup, but it also takes a lot of horsepower. It takes a lot. We've chose the Mopar power plant. It's got a lot more torque. It seems to be launch the car harder off the corners, and that seems to be where you make all your passes here.
And of course, when you're talking setup, you got to talk shocks.
Yeah, shocks has been a big factor. We went through and did a lot of stuff with the shock technology in the last 5 years, doing a gas shock versus a conventional shock like's on your automobile. You drive down the street, so it makes a big difference.
Darren chose to use a little harder compound?
Yes, we have a choice in what we use, and we picked a little harder tire for qualifying, which you just have to run the same tire all night long up till the feature, and I think that definitely made a big difference.
Continued success, Joe.
Thank you.
Well, Art, what Joe Gertie's talking about there, they got a tight setup on that race car. That takes a lot of torque. Talking about that Mopar low-end torque. He needs it if he's going to have that race car hooked to the racetrack.
Go back to the last complete lap for this restart. Pittman, Kinzer, Swindell, Tatnall, Schatz, the top five, and we're under green once again. Back and forth we go. Number 11, the points leader, Kinzer, goes to the inside. Pittman using that outside track most of the way. Here comes Pittman right back again. Pittman deciding to go low. Oh, it looked like a crucial mistake on Kinzer's part.
Looked like Steve got in a little hard, maybe bobbled a little bit, slid up off the bottom, opened the door wide open for Darren Pittman.
What a break for Darren Pittman.
Boy, he is fast, too. You said started 7th spot. Anytime you can pass these guys, especially drive by the king like that, your race car is fast. Joe Gertie does have that thing hooked up.
It looks like the track is a little wider than at the start of the race. Another caution, number 15, Schatz. He was in 5th place. And also, number 11 is having trouble. Paul McMahon out of Nashville, Tennessee. He was the runner-up to Schatz for Rookie of the Year honors back in 1997. So another restart here in our preliminary feature. You're watching the Cheaper the Dirt Shootout with O'Reilly World of Outlaws. We'll be right back. For Texas Motor Speedway's dirt track as we get set for another restart of the feature race from yesterday. And what a battle it has been. Pittman and Kinzer, 1 and 2, with Swindell right there ready to take advantage. And Swindell goes down low. Taking the lead is Pittman once again.
Steve's not giving up. Again, still trying that bottom groove, Art. Can't quite get up there, though. Pittman's fast, real fast at this point.
Top 4 are locked in for the A feature, the main event, later this evening. Pittman just gathering points up. He wants that 3rd points to finish the championship race with.
Brooke Tatnall in the bottom there, trying to get a hold of that little bit of moisture down there. We saw Shane Stewart. Look at this, battle for the lead.
Back and forth, wheel to wheel. Pittman, oh, he almost clipped him off. A good adjustment that time by Kinzer.
Well, Darren did what he needed to do. He just saw enough of Steve Kinzer. He moved down, blocked his line, and made Steve slow down just a little bit. And you can see Darren pulled out, but Steve's not giving up.
No, Kinzer's not letting Pittman off the hook, that's for sure.
There again, Steve hit those ruts down in 3 and 4, bounced up and slid up into the slick part of the racetrack, and Darren's able to pull away again.
It looks like the conditionings of the track are certainly changing rapidly on this evening.
Well, it's tough on a driver physically when the racetrack's rough like this in spots, and as you can see there in slicking spots, that was wheel spin. Brooke Tatnall getting fishtailing out off of turn 4.
All of a sudden, the checkers are out for Pittman. And it's Pittman's 2nd preliminary feature win on the season to go with 3 main event victories. A confidence builder in his quest, I think, to catch Joey Saldana for 3rd in the points standing. And a good safe race for our points leader.
Yeah, that's all Steve Kinzer wants to do, just finish races. And with the trouble that Danny Lasowski had, he's doing what he needs to do.
Here's how they finished up in yesterday's big feature. Pittman, Steve Kinzer, Brooke Tatnall in 3rd. Of course, Tatnall was the first Aussie to win in the O'Reilly World of Outlaws series. So after Tatnall, we've got that all-important 4th place position nailed down by Shane Stewart. And Sammy Swindell rounds out the top 5. I talked with our winner, Darren Pittman, right after the race. Boy, car to car with Steve, and it was a great race. You found good traction, though, on the outside at times.
Yeah, I got, we had harder tires on, and the more heat they got, the better they got. So, I actually fell back. We started 5th and backed up to about 8th, I think. And, I was really back there struggling, so I had to start searching for something on the racetrack. And, man, my car just got better every lap. So, it's a new chassis for us, CMC chassis. We're running them all next year. And, to get a win with my car owner, hadn't seen us win in the 2 years I've run for him. So, man, this is great. A big high to finish up the year.
Highlights from tonight's heat races and all exciting dash race coming up next on the Cheaper Than Dirt Shootout from Texas Motor Speedway Dirt Track. Welcome back to Texas Motor Speedway, the dirt track. Tonight's coverage of the O'Reilly World of Outlaws is the first of 2 year-ending presentations on the Outdoor Channel this season. Coming up next from Las Vegas, we'll be crowning the champion and the final race of the season. Next year, we'll be coming your way 26 consecutive weeks on Wednesday nights at 8 o'clock Eastern, right here on the Outdoor Channel, your source. Fastest sprint cars in the world. Earlier this evening, all but the top 4 finishing cars from last night's preliminary 30-lap feature had to qualify for tonight's main event. Here is action from heat number 1. These are 8-lap races. Brad?
Jonathan Eller started on the front row, but Jason Sides gets a good run out of 2 and takes the lead.
He sure does. Jason Sides already locking up Rookie of the Year for this year, the Kevin Gobrick Award. Number 20, Lasowski, took a low groove. A great move by Lasowski, as it was an exciting qualifying heat. Number 20 comes across that finish line, and he's got some steam rolling. Lasowski goes to the main event along with Sides, McMahon, and Hoddenfield. Heat 2 featured Brian Brown on the pole with Jason Johnson, number 22, to his outside. And then we had a couple of Kinzers, cousins of Steve, Mark and Kelly, in this race.
That is Kelly Kinzer in the 35. Those familiar with the World of Outlaws used to seeing Tyler Walker in that, but this weekend it's Kelly Kinzer.
Number 15 is Donnie Schatz, and he's making his presence felt, especially after the caution came out and a restart. He's in 4th place right now, but he's on the move. Trouble for 29, Travis Rylett from Forney, Texas. He spun to the inside, got hung up on that berm on the restart now. This proved to be very interesting, Brad. Jason Johnson, number 22, making his presence felt as he vies for the lead. Currently there, moves to the outside into 2nd place.
But he got a lot of wheel spin. He got a little high out of turn 4, a lot of wheel spin, and opened the door for Mark Kinzer, who drives by on the inside. But there he comes back, Jason Johnson. Slides up. That's a big slide job. All of them going up to the top, leaning that right rear against the cushion.
Boy, it looked like it opened the door for shots number 15 on the inside.
Sure did. A lot of those guys, as I said, went to the top, left it wide open on the bottom for shots, and he took advantage of it.
Shots not a full season, but he's fared very well with 7 wins, 5 preliminary feature wins, 5th in points, and not running all the races. The checkered flag is out. Shots took the win. Jason Johnson second. Mark Kinzer third. Tim Schaefer into the main event with 4th. Heat 3 featuring Ricky Logan on the pole from Little Rock, Arkansas. Johnny Herrera of Albuquerque, New Mexico. Boy, Logan got the good start.
Sure did. He's down there in the moisture, got a good bite off the top. Herrera was kind of stuck in the slick part of the racetrack and had a lot of wheel spin. Now he moves to the top, trying to get hold of that moisture up there. As you can see, that brown dirt up there, that's what he's trying to do. And he does. He gets the lead right there. But again, just sliding in on the top. That's a controlled slide. I mean, these things, it's a fine line of how much do you let it slide so it still keeps your speed up. If you slide too much, we see guys spinning out all the time on these slick racetracks. You got to be careful as a driver.
So hand the checkers to Johnny Herrera. Second place, Joey Saldana. Ricky Logan holding on to third. And Jeremy Campbell makes it to the main. Starting on the pole for heat number 4 was Randy Hannigan from San Jose, California. Number 1, Sammy Swindell. Charges from 4th to 1st in the opening lap. Number 1 down below is Swindell. It was a battle of number 1s after a while.
Yeah, there's Sammy on the bottom, gets a good bite out of turn 4. As you said, leads that first lap. Hannigan not giving up there on the outside, though, trying to battle back. Sammy's just too strong at this time.
Hannigan would settle for second place. Out in front, Swindell. Hannigan in second, Wayne Johnson in third, and Jason Myers in number 7 would be the 4th qualifier. The evening's qualifying continued with a 5-lap dash race, 8 cars, including the top 4 finishers from last night's preliminary main, plus the 4 fastest qualifiers from the 16 cars that transferred out of their heat races. Darren Pittman started on the pole, winning last night's preliminary main. This race determines the top 8 starting positions in tonight's main event. The winner of this race will sit on the pole. Number 15, having his problems. That's Schatz. Donnie Schatz stalled in turn 2, caused a restart. When the action picked up, it was Steve Kinzer, number 11, in the Quaker State car, making sure that he started the main event in the best possible place, the pole position. He was on track.
He was, but Shane Stewart there in the 4 car running second. Not a World of Outlaws regular. Good run for him this weekend to be running second in the dash. If he finishes there, that'll put him on the front row alongside Kinzer.
Kinzer pulling out a lead on Shane Stewart. Pittman in third, Hacknell in 4th. The final qualifying race of the day, the B-Main, in effect, is the last chance qualifier, Brad. Only the top 4 from this 10-lap race transferred to tonight's main event. It was number 97, Aaron Berryhill, breaking out on top, and a charge of a lot of younger, hungry racers right behind him, Brad.
Well, everybody knows this is it. This is your last chance. You load up and go home after this, or you sit and watch the main event from your trailer. But you got to go for it. Give it everything you can.
And look at what number 35W is doing. Jonathan Allard picked up the space and really made a race of it. In fact, he was able to pass him on the white flag lap. That little mishap allowed Jonathan Allard of Chico, California to really pick up some space and make it exciting. But Berryhill in his Ride-Out Patriot Properties machine made sure that he didn't pack for Broken Arrow, Oklahoma too early. Looking now with the official results page of the B-Main, the qualifiers for the main event include Aaron Berryhill, Jonathan Allard, Brian Brown, and Justin Henderson. Jack Hodenshield, one of the many getting ready for tonight's Cheaper Than Dirt Shootout at the O'Reilly World of Outlaws from Texas Motor Speedway Dirt Track. It's next on the Outdoor Channel. Welcome back to the Texas Motor Speedway Dirt Track. We're ready for the main event. 40 laps of action, $12,000 to the winner for the Cheaper Than Dirt Shootout. The exhausting qualifying process has been completed. The best 24 cars are parading now 4 abreast as a salute to their great fans nationwide. Steve Kinzer, he's looking to add to his points lead. Maybe stay out of trouble is the best advice, while racers like Darren Pittman want to upset the title-bound champion.
Yeah, car was good in the dash. We just started on the pole and backed up to third, just made a couple of drive errors. But the car's been good all night. We were good enough to win last night, so hopefully just get back by Steve and the 4 car, and we got 40 laps to do it.
Brad, the never-ending challenge for racing like this on dirt is the ever-changing track condition.
Well, it's part of the driver's job to feel that race car, constantly be monitoring what it feels like so he can tell the crew chief what changes need to be made.
Just change the air pressure and change the stagger, and we had to go a little bit different compound tonight than what we run last night because we've got to run the same tire through the heat and the dash, so hopefully we can make that.
On the pole in the bright green Quaker State number 11, the king of the Outlaws, Steve Kinser, trying for his 18th championship. Next to him is Shane Stewart, 4M. In row 2, Pittman and Tapnell, right behind those two. In row 3, Swindell and McMahon. Row 4, Saldana and Schatz. Row 5, Berryhill and Mark Kinser. Row 6, Lasowski inside. Row 7, Jason Johnson and Herrera. Row 8, Wayne Johnson and Hannigan. Row 9, Logan and Brown. Row 10, Allard and Henderson. Row 11, Campbell and Myers. Row 12, Haddon-Shield and Schaefer. Steve Kinser would love nothing more than to win his 496th career victory here tonight, on way to not only becoming another champion maybe, but also one step closer to that coveted win number 500. That is amazing to me. You see Kinser, number 11, on the inside, the bright green. Stewart, the blue car, just to his outside, and Pittman right behind him, also in an all-blue car, number 21. Oh, they bump at the start. Stewart gets knocked off the action, and no yellow flag. So Kinser is moving out in front.
Boy, that's really costly to Shane Stewart. It bumped him up into the slick part of the racetrack. He lost several spots, Art, on that start.
Kinser going to the outside, using that high cushion. Pittman on the inside. It looks like everybody's using more track in this race.
Now Pittman there moved up on the top of the turns 1 and 2. You see him just behind Steve. Steve goes to the top in 3 and 4. Again, trying to keep those rear tires up on that brown part of the racetrack. That's where they get the best bite.
Kinser, Pittman, Swindell, the order. Pittman and Swindell within striking distance, but boy, it looks like Steve wants to get a big lead early.
Well, he's trying, but there Pittman moved to the bottom of 1 and 2, Art, down there on that moisture, trying to make something work. He felt like Steve was getting away from him on the top, so Pittman's moving around, trying to find a better spot. And now Steve goes to the bottom in 3 and 4, and Pittman goes to the top. These guys are moving all over the racetrack.
Swindell on the inside, trying to go wheel to wheel with Pittman.
Pittman should have the advantage down there. It's a little slick off the 2 on the bottom yet, and yeah, Pittman still has the momentum up there. See Sammy getting real sideways, getting back to that bottom groove there where the moisture's at.
Race. They must be going at least 130 miles an hour on the straightaway.
And that's controlled slide we talked about earlier. I mean, these guys, it becomes routine for them.
In 4th place, goes for that high groove. There's Pittman, Swindell, 2nd and 3rd. Uh-oh, trouble between 3 and 4. Mark Kinser's up on his side.
You can see it was just an easy roll over there. The wing's not even damaged. Looks like the left front tire. There's Mark inside the car. He looks okay. Again, that race car is not hardly hurt at all. They can probably get a left front tire on it and restart.
Mark with only 1 win this year. That's a little unusual, isn't it?
It is. They're having a very tough year, struggling on and off the racetrack. Carl Kinser, his dad and crew chief, had to have emergency appendectomy at the Knoxville Nationals on Saturday night of all places, so they've really had a tough year.
More O'Reilly World of Outlaws coming up in a moment. We're back with the O'Reilly World of Outlaws, getting ready for a restart, and Steve Kinser, number 11, with 24 wins under his belt this year, is in the place he wants to be, and that's out in front. Before the green flag comes out, let's take this time out for an O'Reilly World of Outlaws driver profile. Ever since winning Rookie of the Year in 1997, Donnie Schatz has been a force to be reckoned with. Like many of today's young drivers, Donnie is racing in his blood. His father, Danny, raised Donnie to take his place on the dirt track.
My father raced sprint cars for about 7 years. Never did get to race with the World of Outlaws. Quit racing when I was born, and to concentrate on his business, which is a truck stop business. He got in through racing. He was sponsored by a truck stop, and he now owns that truck stop today. So, you know, it's our life's kind of revolved around racing from day one.
Donnie's worst enemy is most often himself, especially when it comes to dealing with the hardships of being on the road. But as the recipient of the Vibrant Perseverance Award, he champions the ideal of endurance.
It's pretty grueling. I come to learn after 3 or 4 or 5 years that you just have to travel, and just has to be a stationary thing. You have to be able to do it whether you're awake or not. You have to be able to deal with little sleep and try to lead a normal life rather than let everything revolve around these race cars. And as I did that, I felt like it was a turning point for me. Everything got better.
What is Donnie Schott's philosophy on competition? It's learn from your mistakes before someone else does.
Competition is absolutely flawless. You make a mistake, and you got to know inside your head that there's going to be someone there to capitalize on it, and that's normally exactly how it works.
Despite running a partial schedule, he's 5th in points. Donnie wants those 4 cars ahead of him to watch him focus on a championship effort next year.
Yes, we're going to run the full season next year. I've done it for 7 years. I missed 5 or 6 races this year, and we're still in the top 5 in points. And I've never really been a points racer, and I guess I feel like we're at the point where I'm finally knowledgeable enough with what I want with my own race cars and our motor program, with everything that goes on a day-to-day basis, that we're ready to put that all together in one piece and start contending for a championship.
So we're ready for the restart. Kinzer in first place with Pittman and Swindell. Top 3, they come around, they see the green flag ready to go. And Steve is on his way to setting up another lead. But look at Pittman inside as the champion goes on the outside group.
Yeah, Pittman had no choice there. He didn't want to follow Steve through 1 and 2 on the top. Went to the bottom, tried to make something happen.
Steve Kinzer still holding on to that lead, but Pittman is starting to make the challenge.
Actually, Pittman running the middle groove there, Art. That's something we haven't seen. He's searching around, doing what he needs to do in second position. He's looking for a spot to try to, and a way to try to get around Steve Kinzer.
Looking for traction on this track. Looks like it'll be a difficult assignment.
It is. It's getting slicker and slicker. The blacker you see the track like that, the more they're sliding around, the harder it is to keep the rear wheels from spinning, and boy, they're just searching every bit of the racetrack.
Pittman, look at that turn. And right behind him, Saldana.
Again, running the bottom in 3 and 4. Now they all go to the top. Feel like that's the fastest line down there. Let's see what Pittman does going into 3. Right back down to the bottom. Look at that. He's gaining a little bit on Steve Kinzer.
Big time on Kinzer.
Shane Stewart in 4M. He's running the top, 1 and 2.
Kinzer couldn't be in a better spot, Grab, because, well, he said he just wanted to run hard and stay out of risky situations that he might otherwise say try going for the win.
Less risky places up front like that, out there leading it. He's going to get into some lap traffic. He's going to have to be careful of that. But, boy, he is, as you said, where he wants to be, out front controlling this race.
Tonight is only the 9th time that Steve Kinzer has started on the pole and taken great advantage of it. But that tells me another thing. With 24 previous wins this season, he knows how to go through traffic.
He's had to race his way to the front on a lot of occasions. He did get the up front starting spot tonight, but boy, he does know his way through the car. And that's including the lap traffic that he's got to tend with here. When he starts on the front row like that, you can see him come up on a lap car. He's been here before, Art. He's led a lot of races. He's not going to do anything foolish, take himself out of this win and maybe a championship.
He's got a race on his hands, though, because number 21, Pittman, and Swindell is right on Pittman's rear.
There's a race right there. Sammy Swindell really closing in on Pittman. He's found something just in the last couple laps. But also, Kinzer not getting away now from Pittman. Turning into a great race here. Sammy Swindell gets a good run off the bottom. Just can't quite get by Pittman.
Look at that cut by Pittman going into the turn.
Lets the car drift out along the wall and then cut back to the bottom. And Sammy Swindell staying on the top.
He didn't really have to rise up to the top.
Yeah, he's trying that bottom, trying to make it work, and it has been working. Now there's a lap car, so he's going to have to probably go to the outside. Yes, he does. Darren McCampbell, the lap car on the bottom. So that time Pittman had to go to the top.
And Swindell is right there just waiting for something to happen. Waiting for opportunity, possibly, as they approach the lap traffic now. There's Campbell underneath. Pittman and Swindell, second and third, are having a race all by themselves right here. Swindell cuts underneath. Oh my goodness, no margin for error on that move. And here's our leader. And a caution flag has come out. Jason Myers. With 25 laps to go, we're ready with the restart. Back to green. Let's see what Pittman can do.
Great restart for Steve, though. Not any mistakes. Real smooth through 1 and 2, running the top. Pittman again on that bottom, trying to get a hold of some of that brown moisture down there.
Swindell in third. Saldana in fourth. You can't rule them out either. Anything can happen right now.
25 laps to go. It's a lot of racing left.
The real duel, though, is the champion taking the high groove. And now Pittman goes up high.
Yeah, Pittman's moved all over the racetrack and not able to close in on Steve Kinzer. Just kind of a helpless feeling for Pittman right now. Back there again, he's doing everything he can do, searching all over the place. He just can't seem to gain on Kinzer.
Kinzer's such a great veteran.
He is. Like I said, been here so many times, led so many races. I mean, the laps led is just incredible.
Would you say he makes his own break?
He does. I mean, he's a lucky guy in certain ways, but yeah, he makes a lot of luck. But there's Pittman now. I just say wasn't making any room or gaining any. Boy, he sure is now.
Almost wheel to wheel. Let's see what the next lap will bring.
Interesting. Steve Kinzer was running the top in 3 and 4. He saw Pittman down there. He moved to the bottom of 3 and 4, trying to find something. He knows that the top groove might be slowing down, and Pittman might have woke him up there again a little bit.
So Kinzer comes down below. There's Campbell. He's trying to get around another lap driver, and does so effectively.
And look how much faster he got when he moved to the bottom. Look how he pulled away from Pittman. So the faster line right now is on the bottom is Randy Hannigan.
Hannigan a spin out almost in front of the leader. So that brings out the yellow flags once again. We'll be right back to the Texas Motor Speedway dirt track for more Cheaper Than Dirt Shootout. Back to the O'Reilly World of Outlaws from Fort Worth, Texas, the Texas Motor Speedway dirt track. And restart time. The champion, defending champion, and the current points leader still out in front. Steve Kinzer, he's just hoping things hold together, I think, right now, Brad.
Yeah, he's got a lap car between he and second place Darren Pittman. That's obviously an advantage to Steve. As you can see him pull away there. Pittman will have to try to make quick work of Jeremy Campbell, the lap car. Campbell goes to the bottom, gets out of the way. Let's Pittman race for it.
Both Kinzer and Pittman going to the high side. Still right now coming out of 4.
Yeah, they had been running the bottom the last few laps before the restart, down in turns 3 and 4, both running the top in 1 and 2. It's a long way around up there, but boy, that's the only place right now there's any traction at that end.
Boy, here's where that downforce that the wing gives you is just essential.
It really is. The slicker the track gets, when the fuel load gets out, the more wheel spin you get, the drier the track gets. But the driver can adjust that hydraulically from the cockpit. There's a lever. They can move. They can pull that wing back, and the more further they move it back, the more weight it transfers to the rear tires.
Sammy Swindell in third as we watch our leader circling around this fine track.
I'm sure there's a lot of guys that grab that wing valve this late in the race to pull that wing back, try to get more forward bite off those rear tires.
Now your nose wing you can't adjust, is that right?
No, not from the cockpit. There's adjustments on it that you can make in the pits, but most guys, it's a standard position and they leave it there, but the driver can only move the top wing.
I think with all that power in the back that nose wing is essential, and more caution.
Sammy Swindell got in the wall. You can see the left rear torn up there. Big hit. Tail tank's got the paint scuffed off of it.
14 laps to go with that caution. So before the restart, after 26 laps, it's Kinzer in the lead, but he's being pressured big time by Pittman. Saldana, a very quiet but effective third place run for number 17. Stewart, and then Schatz and Johnson, who started in 13th, is up to 6th. This time around, out of turn 4, the green flag is waving. Kinzer guns it. And it looks like a pretty single line through turn 4 there.
I was going to say, notice the whole field on the bottom. When it's a restart like this, it's slow. You don't get a lot of air on that wing. And so far around the top, everybody likes to go to the bottom, try to pick up the throttle, and just stay in line until they get back up to speed.
That's where the leader is, and that's where Pittman is right behind it, trying to pick up some time on the leader.
Boy, but Steve, at this point, just in a short time, has pulled away. Again, that race car working well. Crew Chief Scott Gherkin has that race car hooked up, able to drive away from these guys.
Believe it or not, Schaefer has moved into 5th place as we take a look at our leader. That entire crew just hoping and praying that things hold together now as he works the downside.
Yeah, it's just become too far around up in turns 3. The cushion's not there anymore. The moisture's not there anymore. Everybody's kind of ran it so into the ground. Basically, it's not much traction up there.
Jason Johnson has moved up into 4th place. He is on the move. Here's number 22.
Boy, all of a sudden, Art, he has found something. That race car, that setup has come in. He is just blasted by a race car just in the last couple of laps. As you can see him close in on Saldana.
Saldana is in third. Johnson has come out of nowhere. He started in 13th.
Got a long way to go. Steve pretty far out front. He's got his work cut out for him as he's still working on Saldana there.
Stays up high.
One of the few guys running the top in 3 and 4. He said how many guys are running the bottom, and he's on the top down in 3 and 4.
Johnson from Eunice, Louisiana, is known as the Cajun Sensation, and he is truly a sensation in this race right now.
Boy, he really is. I tell you, his car owner, Alan Elaine Harrison, they got to be really happy with what he's done coming from 13th up to this point. They've never won a World of Outlaws race, and boy, I tell you, this is probably their best shot. He is really coming.
Into lap traffic once again, our leader, Steve Kinzer.
Right there's Jason Johnson. Got by Pittman for second. He's closing in on the leader, Steve Kinzer.
Less than 2 car lengths, and there he goes. On the high side. Kinzer has a lap driver to deal with, and we have a new leader, Jason Johnson. This is incredible. Number 22, taking things over.
Boy, there's something wrong with Steve's car, though, Art. You can see really slow. He couldn't even get by the lap car of Henderson, and down in 1 and 2, Jason Johnson really pulled away. There's something wrong with Steve Kinzer's race car.
And Pittman continues in third.
Boy, what a story this would be if Jason Johnson can hold off and win this thing. He was a crew member for Steve Kinzer. Come out of Louisiana, had big dreams of being a big-time sprint car driver, worked for people for basically just food just 5 years ago. Man, if he can just hold on and win this thing, what a story.
His fans and friends, family are just jumping up and down right now with their fingers crossed.
Boy, he is the one up there making it work. Still on the top all the way around the racetrack.
Amazing thing if he holds on. We've had so many different winners this year, and this would be a first-time winner.
Yeah, I believe there's been 16 different winners on the season this year, but I'll tell you, he's got to be nervous. To pass his former boss and Steve Kinzer be leading the World of Outlaw race, I guarantee you the butterflies in his stomach. He's just praying that the checkered flag comes out any time now. Well,
coming from 13th place, that would be the best comeback for a victory this season.
Well, that would be probably the furthest anybody started this year. Come up and win.
Yeah, and I think you're right. Something's definitely wrong with Steve's car.
Yeah, really slow there.
And right now, he's just hanging in for point. Number 22, only a couple of turns away from a very historic sprint car victory. Jason Johnson, he takes the checkered flag for his first World of Outlaws win. Steve Kinzer, well, he's got to be disappointed, but he's got second place and valuable points on Danny Losowski, who is placed 11th here today.
Yeah, Steve's got to be a little disappointed. He led this race till 5 laps to go. The competitor that he wants to win every race, but he's looking at the big picture, and that's those points.
In that final results, as we're down here in the victory circle, Jason Johnson's crew is just jumping up and down around us, no longer looking for their first victory. Kinzer continues his march to the championship. It would be his 18th. Third in points, third in this race. Saldana just staying in front of Pittman, who's fourth in the points race. Shane Stewart rounds out the top 5. Look at Tim Schaefer. What a comeback from the back of the pack to 6th place. All from the Cheaper Than Dirt Shootout in Fort Worth, Texas.
Jason, there's always something about that very first victory.
Oh, definitely. I mean, to come here to Texas, I lived in Greenville, Texas for 3 years driving for Lanning Rowell, and to come to Texas and win here is the dream come true. And
to pass the guy who helped you get started, you were as a crew member of Steve's.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. I mean, I kept seeing I was sucking them down, and next thing you know, we drove right by. I was just waiting for him to charge me right back, but hey, Steve's is a great boss. Apparently, he taught me just a little bit too much.
We're back at the Texas Motor Speedway, and before we leave you, let's take a look back at the O'Reilly World of Outlaws Rewind. It was only 5 years ago that Jason Johnson got off a train from Eunice, Louisiana, looking for his first big break in sprint car racing. One of those breaks came from the 17-time champion Steve Kinzer, who hired Jason to help work with his famous Outlaw number 11, the Quaker State car. And where else would you learn to be the best but from the best? But it wasn't until Al and Elaine Harrison of Harrison Trucking let him drive their prize number 22 that Johnson realized his true potential here tonight. So here we are at the Texas Motor Speedway dirt track. where Jason Johnson in the number 22 car started in the 13th position. He quickly edged his way through the pack up to 4th place, where he will stay until the 33rd lap. From here, it's just a mudsling away from breaking past Steve Kinzer in that reliable number 11 to take the lead with a scant 5 laps to go. So now, the student becomes the master, and Jason Johnson from Eunice, Louisiana, takes home his first career World of Outlaws victory. This is Art Eckman for Brad Doty and our entire Outdoor Channel crew, thanking you for joining us. We'll be seeing you next from Las Vegas, Nevada, on the 25th anniversary edition of the O'Reilly World of Outlaws. So long, everyone.